I found a pregnancy test in my husband's pocket, and his confession led to an unthinkable betrayal. Hey everyone, Sarah here. I'm 38, and honestly, I never in a million years thought I'd be sitting here telling you this story. My life with Michael, my 42-year-old husband, used to be so picture perfect. I seriously felt like I was living in some cheesy, romantic movie. We'd been married for 7 years. Not forever, but definitely long enough for me to believe I knew him better than anyone on this planet. Michael, he's 4 years my senior, and trust me, anyone who meets him would instantly say that he's a real family man. He's incredibly meticulous, always on time, and just does everything perfectly. But the biggest thing, the one I clung to, is that he's obsessed with honesty. Like he'd rather drop dead than tell a lie. I remember one time he forgot to turn off the bathroom light, and he not only owned up to it but apologized to me like 5 times. My life before him had been pretty rough, so I always felt so proud of his honesty. It was like this solid, unshakable wall protecting our marriage. Michael was my rock, always. You know, we'd been through a lot together, and the biggest, most gut-wrenching pain of my life was 3 miscarriages in a row. Each one felt like a literal stab to the heart, and I was absolutely crushed. I practically sank into depression, crying myself to sleep every single night. It was Michael, though. He was right there beside me, holding my hand so tight, telling me, "Sarah, let's just stop trying. We don't need kids to be happy, babe. All I need is you in my life." Hearing him say that, it was like a warm blanket wrapping around my heart. I believed him, 100%. He was my whole world, the one who pulled me out of that darkness, helped me find my smile again, and genuinely believed in a future that was childless, but still completely full. We had cozy movie nights, trips just for the 2 of us, and dreams of a little house filled only with our laughter. Life just kept rolling, calm, happy, and absolutely overflowing with trust. And then, one fateful night, everything came crashing down. That evening, Michael got home a little late. He casually tossed his blazer onto the sofa, just like always, and headed straight for the bathroom. I, being the neat freak I am, walked over intending to pick it up and hang it in the closet. Just as I reached for it, a small, rectangular object slowly slid out of the pocket and dropped onto the hardwood floor. Thud. A dull, dry sound echoed in the quiet room. I looked down and saw it. My heart practically stopped. My whole body went rigid. It was a pregnancy test, still sealed in its paper box, completely unopened. It felt like someone had just punched me square in the gut. The whole world spun. I stood rooted to the spot, my eyes glued to that tiny box lying there on the floor. Every vein in my head felt like it was about to burst. My trust, my peace, everything just shattered into a million pieces in that exact moment. I felt like I was going to faint. That was the moment I knew my life would never, ever be the same again. That night, I literally couldn't utter a single word. My throat was bone dry, completely constricted. I just stood there, staring at it, then at Michael as he stepped out of the bathroom, hair still dripping wet. He didn't even notice that damned little box. My hand shaking uncontrollably, I quickly bent down, snatched it up, and shoved it back into his jacket pocket, all on autopilot. We ate dinner like any other night. He still chatted about work, asked about my day. He was even twice as attentive as usual. Michael smiled at me, that same smile I'd trusted for 7 years. My heart was pounding like a drum in my chest. My eyes were glued to him, desperately searching for any hint of guilt, any flicker of anxiety, but nothing. Absolutely nothing. He was disturbingly calm. At that moment, only one thought consumed me. If he was hiding something, he was an incredibly talented actor. My husband might just be a master of deception. I couldn't sleep a wink that whole night. I just lay there, tossing and turning, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. 1,000 questions swirled in my head. Whose was it? Why? What was he hiding from me? And most painfully, I started blaming myself. I wondered if I was going crazy. How could I dare doubt my obsessively honest husband? Maybe it belonged to a colleague, or he just found it. I tried to twist every possible reason to deny the truth staring me in the face. but the image of that pregnancy test kept replaying like a horror movie in my mind. The next day, Michael left for work as usual. He kissed my forehead, wished me a good day. I managed a strained smile in return. The moment the door clicked shut and the sound of his car faded, it felt like some invisible force propelled me forward. I knew I shouldn't, but I had to know. I had to know the truth. I tiptoed into Michael's home office. My hands trembled as I opened his desk drawers, rummaging through his personal files, something I'd never done before. I found an old, locked folder, something I'd never seen, another secret. Michael, the man so honest he accounted for every single penny, had a locked folder I knew nothing about? It took me a while, but I finally figured out the code. It was one he used for trivial things. When the lock clicked open, my heart felt like it was gonna leap out of my chest. I took a deep breath, then slowly opened the folder. And just like that, my whole world collapsed a second time. Inside was a pile of personal documents. There was a medical record for a child named Liam Stone, age 16, a name I'd never heard before. Then a thick stack of school reports. From the first glance, I saw terrifying comments: disruptive, disrespectful, involved in fights, warned for minor violent behavior, and even previously suspended. This kid was clearly a big trouble. And then I saw these enormous legal and psychological counseling bills, all under Michael's name, with small notes saying Liam's support. I don't know what a private lawyer or therapy session costs, but the amounts on those receipts made my head spin. It was draining a huge chunk of the savings we'd build up for our future. A chill ran down my spine when I found a small, old, faded photo. In it was a much younger Michael embracing an older woman, someone I'd never seen before. On the back of the photo, in Michael's familiar handwriting, was a short note. My boy Liam. My head spun. Liam Stone? My boy Liam? Michael had a child? A secret kept for 16 years? It wasn't mine, and it wasn't some other woman trying to get into our marriage. It was his own biological son. I felt like I was going to throw up. A pregnancy test, troubled files, money, and a child. It was all like a nightmare unfolding right there in my own home. Michael, my perfect, obsessively honest husband, had hidden such a huge secret from me. I couldn't breathe. I don't know how I managed to drag myself to dinner that night. My mind was reeling with thoughts of Liam Stone and all the documents I'd found. I tried my best to act normal, but my heart was pounding like a drum. Michael came home cheerful as always. He asked me all sorts of things, about my day, about work. He had no idea I'd uncovered his terrible secret. Dinner passed in a tense silence from my end. I watched Michael desperately trying to find any sign that he was putting on an act. But no, he remained completely calm. I couldn't take it anymore. As soon as dinner ended, he was about to get up and clear the table, just like he always did. I took a deep breath, my voice trembling. Michael! He turned, looking at me with a puzzled expression. Who is Liam Stone? I let the words fall, my voice sharp and cold, trying desperately to keep it from shaking. My hand, without me even realizing it, had tightened around the folder I'd secretly taken, raising it towards him. Michael's face instantly drained of color. His eyes widened, his expression shifting from puzzled to bewildered, then to panicked, and finally to sudden anger. He flinched, stepping back, looking at me as if I'd suddenly grown a third head. What are you talking about, Sarah? Liam stolen? Where did you get that? Michael started, startled, then rushed forward, trying to snatch the folder from my hand. I stepped back, hiding the folder behind me. Don't pretend anymore, Michael. You always talk about honesty and love. You can't lie to me. Tell me, who is Liam Stone? Why is your name in this kid's messed up files? And what about that pregnancy test? I screamed, my voice cracking. I couldn't hold back anymore. Michael's face went ashen. The anger vanished, replaced by utter defeat. He sagged like a concrete block that had lost its foundation, slumping into the chair opposite me. A heavy silence filled the room. Michael didn't say a word. He just sat there, staring blankly into space, his eyes filled with failure and despair. Every second stretched on like an eternity. I could hear my heart pounding, the blood rushing in my ears. Finally, Michael took a deep breath, like he was about to dive thousands of kilometers under the sea. He started to speak. His voice got softer, like he was whispering a horrific secret. Before I met you, Sarah, I was in a serious relationship with an older woman. It didn't work out. Too many barriers. Too many prejudices from family, from society. We broke up. I never knew she was pregnant. She never told me either. My hand started shaking. So who's Liam? She raised Liam on her own for 16 years, Michael continued, his voice breaking. She only recently got back in touch because Liam got into a serious fight at school and was summoned by the police. He was facing probation, even the risk of juvenile detention if there wasn't any intervention. She needed my help, urgent legal and financial assistance, and a father figure to help Liam get through this difficult time. I just sat there, stunned, not because Michael had a child, but because of the horrifying reason behind Liam's sudden appearance. This wasn't some generic mental health struggle. This was a ticking bomb, a tangled mess big enough to crush everything. "What about the pregnancy test?" I asked, my voice trembling. Michael looked up, his eyes pleading, but his words were so cold and selfish that they made my stomach churn. "It's Liam's, Sarah. The kid thinks his girlfriend might be pregnant. I went and bought it for Liam, and I was trying to handle this problem myself, keeping it completely from you. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want you to feel betrayed." He reached for my hand. His touch was icy cold. "You can't give me a child, so why can't you accept Liam's existence? I promise this won't affect our marriage." That was a direct punch to my biggest wound. In that moment, I couldn't feel anything anymore. All my senses seemed numb. I just sat there, motionless. The tears wouldn't come. Everything around me, the wall Michael had built, the trust I had in him, the future I'd envisioned, all of it shattered into a million pieces right before my eyes. My world had just fallen apart. After that fateful night, I knew I couldn't stay in that house for another minute. Every corner felt suffocating, haunted by the horrific secret Michael had kept from me. I took a week off work, packed a few things, and took a taxi straight to my mom's house. I needed space. I needed a place where I could breathe, where I could cry without judgment. Michael kept calling and texting me. At first, I even thought he was worried about me. He even asked to meet me at a cafe to talk things over and make amends. But throughout that whole conversation, his phone kept buzzing with calls from an unknown number. I secretly glanced over and saw the name Vanessa pop up, probably Liam's mother. Every time Vanessa called, Michael would rush to answer, sometimes even sneaking outside to whisper. That feeling, that sense of being less important, less prioritized than whatever was going on with them, that was the true blow. In that moment, I knew I was no longer his priority. Of course, I couldn't keep my mom too worried, so I had to go back to that house, back to Michael's new world. And he started being absent more often. Michael made up all sorts of excuses. He had to help Liam with legal issues, find a new school for the kid, and meet with Liam's therapist. Sounds reasonable, right? But those busy excuses just kept dragging on. From missing evenings, it stretched to entire weekends. He missed our wedding anniversary, the day we swore to spend our lives together. He also completely forgot about an important doctor's appointment I'd been waiting months for. Michael would just send curt texts saying he was busy, or sometimes he wouldn't even reply when I asked where he was or what he was doing. I felt abandoned, pushed aside. Michael was living the life of a man with another family, while I sat there alone, grappling with the pain and the betrayal. Then one day, I decided to check our joint bank account, and I was absolutely floored. A huge amount of money had been withdrawn, not just once, but multiple times. There were transfer receipts for a law firm, a child psychology center, and even regular transfers to an account under Vanessa's name. Michael had used our shared savings, money we'd painstakingly saved together, money we dreamed of a peaceful future with, to pay for Liam's troubles and even to give monthly financial support to his mother, all without a single discussion or word to me. It felt like a direct slap in the face. He wasn't just hiding a child from me, he was secretly draining our finances to fuel that secret. I went back home from work, ready to confront Michael. By then, I couldn't stay calm anymore. "Michael, what the hell are you doing? What are you taking our money for? To support another family?" I screamed, my hands trembling as I pointed at the bank statement. Michael looked at me. his eyes cold and sharp. He didn't show an ounce of remorse. Instead, he tried to blame me. "Sarah, stop being so selfish. You're completely unsympathetic. Can't you understand a father's responsibility when he has to take care of his child?" he said, his voice laced with disappointment. "You need to get over your grief about losing a child. You have to accept this situation. You can't give me a child, so why are you stopping me from being a father to my own son?" Those words, they felt like 1,000 knives stabbing straight into my heart. My blood was boiling. What was he even saying? Was he comparing my pain of miscarriages to his having a secret child and hiding it from me? Was he blaming me for not being able to have kids, saying that's why I had to accept all of this? "You're just making things harder for Liam. That poor kid needs me," Michael continued, his voice dripping with self-righteousness. "Calm down. You're just being selfish, Sarah. You're ruining everything." In that moment, I knew this marriage, the love I'd once absolutely trusted, was dead. Dead because of a secret buried for 16 years, and dead because of the selfishness, callousness, and manipulation of the man I used to call my husband. After that night, Michael used my pain to justify his deceit, and things only got worse. He was completely drawn into Liam and Vanessa's world. She started contacting Michael openly, shamelessly, to an unbearable degree. One time I was shopping downtown, intending to pop into a familiar coffee shop that I would come to frequently with Michael for a moment of peace. The moment I walked in, my heart practically stopped. Michael was sitting in a secluded corner, and across from him was Vanessa. They were leaning in, talking quietly about Liam, but the way she touched Michael's arm as she spoke, the intimate look she gave him, that wasn't just two separated parents discussing their child. It was the look of a woman who still had feelings for her ex, or worse, was trying to take advantage of the situation. I stood frozen at the doorway, feeling like a bucket of ice water had been dumped over me. Publicly humiliated. I was his wife, yet he was openly having coffee with his ex, discussing his secret child, and acting intimately in public. I quickly tried to turn away, my heart aching as if it were being ripped apart. But my feet stopped. I couldn't bear living like this any longer. I took a deep breath, gathered every ounce of courage, and walked straight to their table. "Michael, what the hell are you doing here?" I didn't hold back. My voice rang out loud enough for a few people around us to turn their heads. Michael flinched, his face turning pale. Vanessa, though, just smirked, her eyes glinting with challenge. "Oh, Miss Sarah, what a coincidence. We're just discussing a bit of family business." She emphasized family, clearly trying to provoke me. "Family?" I scoffed. "What family are you and my husband part of that I don't know about? Michael, explain yourself." Michael looked around nervously, clearly not wanting to draw more attention. "Sarah, calm down. Let's talk about this at home." "Calm down!" I shrieked. "Do you think I can be calm? You're out here sneaking around with this woman, using my money to support your secret child, and now you're telling me to calm down?" Vanessa cut in, her voice sharp. "Miss Sarah, you should know your place. Michael is fulfilling his duty as a father. You don't have children, so you wouldn't understand." My blood boiled when I heard that. She was humiliating me, reminding me of my pain of not being able to have children, and deliberately trying to start a fight. Those words were like pouring gasoline on a fire. I spun to face Vanessa, rage blinding me. "Don't you dare interfere in my marriage. Who do you think you are talking to me like that? Just because I don't have children doesn't mean I don't have the right to be a wife." Our argument grew louder, drawing stares from everyone in the cafe. Michael quickly grabbed my arm, trying to pull me out. "Sarah, stop it. You're making a scene." I yanked my arm away. "Making a scene? You're the scene." Finally, Michael practically dragged me out of the cafe. I knew I'd embarrassed him, but I had no regrets. I was done living that way. After the coffee shop incident, we didn't speak much with each other. And at the same time, Liam's situation became even more extreme. The kid wasn't just having behavioral problems anymore. Liam was like a bottomless pit. Just weeks after starting his new school, he got involved in an even more serious fight, was summoned by the police again, and this time he was also accused of shoplifting from a convenience store. Every time Liam caused trouble, Michael had to fly to deal with it. Tons of lawyer fees, compensation payments, and fines just kept piling up on us. Michael wasn't just dedicating all his time and money to Liam, he completely alienated me. It was as if he'd found a new family full of problems and he was the hero in it, and I was just a fanatic woman who was full of jealousy and got left behind. Michael kept sinking deeper into his relationship with Vanessa and Liam, pushing me further and further away from him, out of his life. I didn't know how long I could put up with all of it. Every single day was like another stab wound. That feeling of being abandoned just gnawed at me, little by little. But everyone has their limits, right? I certainly did. I couldn't take it anymore. That night, Michael came home after another urgent meeting. The faint scent of another woman's perfume clung to his shirt. That was the last straw. My blood just boiled. I felt my whole body grow hot, my mind spinning. I knew I had to say something right then and there. I confronted him in the middle of the living room. "Michael, where have you been? What have you done with our money? You lied to me. You betrayed me in the cruelest way possible." My voice cracked, and I couldn't keep my composure anymore. I want to explode. Michael turned, his eyes narrowing, looking annoyed. "Sarah, are you starting this again? I told you I was busy with Liam's stuff." "Liam's stuff? Or is it your stuff with Vanessa and your new family? You lied to me about everything. You betrayed my trust and neglected me. You prioritized them over our 7-year marriage," I screamed, tears streaming down my face. "You promised you'd never hurt me again after everything I'd been through, after those 3 miscarriages, but you did it in the most brutal, most wicked way possible." Michael showed no remorse. Instead, he absolutely flew into a rage. "Enough, Sarah. You're always so selfish. Can't you just accept the truth? You're destroying this family. You always want to play the victim. I have a responsibility to my child," he snarled, his eyes bloodshot. Michael swung his arm, smashing it down on the glass coffee table, sending the glass vase crashing to the floor, shattering into a million pieces. The sound of it splintering was jarring, but it didn't hurt as much as his words. "You'll never understand what it feels like to be a father who finds his biological child. You couldn't give me a child, so why are you stopping me from being a father to my own son? You should be grateful I didn't leave you immediately after those miscarriages." Those words so cruel they pierced me to the bone. It was like a knife plunging straight into my bleeding heart. Michael, who had once been my rock, who had once said, "Having you is enough," was now using the greatest pain of my life to attack me. "You've replaced me in your life with them. All those fake excuses, you just want to be with them. You betrayed me, Michael. You lied to me," I shrieked in despair. Michael's face twisted. He looked at me with eyes as cold as ice. "If that's what you think, then fine. You never trusted me anyway." With that, Michael turned and walked away. He went straight for the door without a single glance back. In the split second Michael was about to walk out, an idea flashed through my mind. A crazy idea, but one I had to try. I needed to see what he was truly made of. "Wait, Michael. I just got back from the doctor. I'm 2 months pregnant," I said, my voice cracking, trying to sound weak and tearful. Michael froze. He spun around, his face shifting from anger to stunned disbelief, then utter shock. His eyes widened. I saw a flicker of hope, a momentary joy in his eyes, the very thing I'd longed to see for so many years. He rushed towards me, his expression doing a complete 180. "Really, Sarah, are you serious? You're pregnant. Ours." He tried to take my hand, his eyes filled with desperate yearning. I pulled my hand back. Watching him try to approach, trying to be attentive and affectionate after all the cruel words he'd just uttered, I felt a wave of pure disgust wash over me. Was all he cared about having a child? Did he just flip his attitude because I said I was pregnant? I looked him straight in the eye, my voice as cold as ice, completely devoid of emotion. "No, Michael, I lied. I'm not pregnant. I just wanted to see how you'd react." Michael's face went white. His eyes bulged. He took a step back, staring at me as if I were a monster. His expression cycled from surprise to fury, then to absolute despair. You dared to lie to me?" Michael stammered, his voice losing all composure. "Just like you've been doing to me," I replied, standing my ground, looking him dead in the eye. He stared at me for another few seconds, then turned and walked away. This time, Michael was really gone. He walked straight out the door, without a glance back, without another word. The door slammed shut once more, but this time, it brought a sense of release. I stood there amidst the wreckage, my heart shattered, and tears streaming down my face, unstoppable. Michael was gone. Our marriage, my love, my husband, who I thought would grow old and die with me, was all over. What I was seeing wasn't just the broken vase, but my entire life. I collapsed to the floor, tears gushing out like a river, unable to stop. My whole body trembled, my mind blank, leaving only excruciating pain and emptiness. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. It felt like an invisible hand was squeezing my heart tightly. But I had endured more than enough. I had been trying to cling to something that no longer belonged to me. Michael, the man I had trusted absolutely, had become a complete stranger. He had made his choice. He had chosen a new family with Liam and Vanessa, prioritizing them over our 7-year marriage, over all the pain I had suffered. No, I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay anymore. I couldn't live in a marriage full of nothing but lies and neglect. I deserved more than that. I deserved the truth, respect, and complete love, unburdened by horrific secrets. The next day, I found a lawyer. I went to the same law office I'd researched years ago when I thought about adopting. Ironically, now I was there to end my marriage. As I sat across from the lawyer, I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders. The decision was made. This was the only way for me to find myself again, to reclaim the peace I had lost. I filed for divorce right after that. Honestly, I'd braced myself for a long legal battle, for Michael's cruel words and desperate fights. But no, he reacted with a chilling indifference, an apathy that was almost eerie. Michael didn't contact me directly at all. Everything went through his lawyer. He accepted every single term my lawyer proposed, even the ones heavily in my favor. Not one question, not one argument. It was as if he just wanted it all over with as quickly as possible, to be free. At that moment, all my suspicions were confirmed. Clearly, he was desperate to escape me, to get out of this marriage so he could fully focus on Liam and Vanessa, his new family. I knew it then. Michael had made his choice. He'd chosen a life full of complications and secrets over the peace we once had. A week later, Michael came back to the house to get his things. I wasn't home. I couldn't bear to face him. But when I returned, I saw a few neatly packed boxes. I found a small note on the kitchen counter, just 2 words: "I'm sorry." It wasn't a heartfelt apology, though. It felt empty, meaningless. I stood there staring into the space where he'd just been. I wondered, Michael, the man I once loved, when did he disappear? He was a stranger to me now. A man who had single-handedly destroyed everything we'd built together. The next few months were incredibly tough for me. Divorce isn't just signing a piece of paper, it's the shattering of an entire world. I went to therapy, just like I did after my miscarriages. Those sessions weren't easy, but they were necessary. I learned to face the pain, the betrayal, and the feeling of abandonment. I learned to accept that I can't control other people's choices and that I wasn't responsible for Michael's mistakes. The pain was still there, but it no longer weighed me down like a giant boulder. And Michael, I heard a few whispers. Even though he was free, his life wasn't as easy as he probably imagined. Liam kept getting into new trouble. I heard the kid got involved in another pretty big incident at school, and Michael was still running around, constantly dealing with it, costing him both money and peace of mind. It seems he chose a life full of burdens and endless worries. As for Michael and Vanessa's relationship, I heard they're officially together now, just as they wanted, though Michael wants to be a father more than being a husband. But I don't care anymore. Those are their choices, and I believe they'll face both the happiness and the consequences of them. And then, something no one saw coming happened. On the final court day to finalize the divorce, Michael was sitting there, and when he saw me walk in, his face went white, his eyes wide, staring at me. He was stunned, speechless. The judge asked about assets and related matters. Then my lawyer stood up. "Your Honor," my lawyer said, his voice calm but powerful, "we have an important announcement. My client, Miss Sarah, is actually pregnant." That's right, I really was pregnant. By then, my belly was quite noticeable, so anyone could have guessed. But my lawyer continued anyway. "We have full medical proof. Miss Sarah's pregnancy was confirmed a few weeks after she and the defendant, Michael, separated. And based on this evidence, we request full custody for my client." That was the ultimate twist, guys. I had lied to Michael to test him, but fate, ironically, had granted me a real miracle. Michael couldn't say a word. He had lost everything. He had chosen a life full of trouble, abandoned a woman who truly loved him, and ultimately lost the chance to be the biological father of a child he didn't even know about. I looked at Michael one last time, with eyes that held no hatred, only indifference. I had won custody. I had won. I had found my own path, and more importantly, I had found a much brighter future. I have overcome it. I have found my peace again. It's not a perfect peace, but it's the peace I fought for and won myself. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm the narrator of my own story, and I'm going to live a full life, one that's worthy of everything I've been through. Hey everyone, life isn't easy. Sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But always remember, we have the strength to get back up, to heal, and to start over. Never stop believing in yourself. Thank you for listening to today's story from the Guiltynotes channel. If this story resonated with you, please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional real-life stories and valuable lessons. See you in the next video.